Alrighty. And everyone, I hope you're ready because we are ready to kick it off.
Hey, hey everyone. I am Ellie, and I'm going to be showcasing some Voltex gear for y'all. And a little extra at the end, since we did meet the boss rush incentive. Gonna just cap it off with basically all the hardest charts in the game. So thank you so much for meeting that. And we still do have that Undertale Big War incentive open for about until 20 minutes into the showcase. Other than that, I'm just going to take it away over here and hand it off to my commentators.
Alright, hello. I'm TD Warrior. I'll be helping out.
And I'm Spooty. I will be trying to help out. We'll see how it goes. I may be more of a hindrance than a help, but I'll try my best.
Hey, we're here for it.
I'm going to start for Song Paradisian. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Alright. So, Sound Voltex. It's a vertical scrolling rhythm game. Like any other rhythm game, you got buttons to push. You got, in this one, 2 knobs that you can turn, which will control a blue laser on the left and a pink/red laser on the right. The game uses these in conjunction with hitting the buttons, especially in the later stages, to make some very interesting and complicated chart patterns.
So we're going to be starting off pretty basic here. This is a Novice 5. The charts in Sound Voltex are rated on a 20-point scale, with the most songs having 3 or 4, generally 4 different difficulty charts. So this is the lowest, the easiest difficulty, the Novice chart. After that, you've got Advanced, then Exhaust, and then the 4th slot depends on the song, but usually it's called the Maximum chart. We'll be working our way up to that pretty quickly, but for now, we're just going to start with the 5 at a slow scroll speed so that you can kind of get an idea of what you are looking at here. So we've got these orange notes. Those are the buttons on Ellie's thumbs right here, the L and R buttons, kind of closest to his chest here. Those smaller horizontal buttons. Those are the effects buttons, and usually in particular when there's these holds, when he hits one of the holds, you'll hear the song do some sort of effect, hence effects buttons. There's a pink laser, that's the knob on his right, and but the majority of these notes are just going to be these simple white lines, which each represent one of the 4 large square buttons in a row right there, the button A, B, C, and D, respectively.
As like said, we're still very early in the difficulty level, so it'll be very simple but it'll very quickly go up to speed, and as we go to the higher difficulties, Ellie will also be raising his lane speed. If you've also noticed the life bar, there's 2 life bars. There's excessive and effective. We're currently on excessive, which means you start at a full bar.
Oh no, was that one near at the very end?
It was one near at the end.
Sad, yeah, oops.
Well, hey, but we do get the ultimate chain nonetheless, which is this game's, fancy, cool-sounding version of, saying full combo. The game does have 4 different judgments you can get. One of them's optional, the S-crit, which Ellie is playing with enabled. It's essentially just extra bragging points. It doesn't affect the main scoring method, the score out of 10 million that we see up at the top. But you're going to be looking at criticals, S-criticals, nears, and errors. He was 1 note off of a perfect score there, just getting 1 near at the end, which I want to say nears start at about when you are at 42 milliseconds off from correct timing, which is pretty small, in speedrunning context, that's like, a few frames. And then errors are for when you just miss a note entirely, or if you hit it like way too early. Like, you know, I'm talking like several hundred milliseconds. You actually can see whenever he's hitting one of the tap notes, like up kind of in the middle of the playfield. There's a little number that's popping up with a plus or a minus. That tells him how far off he is from correct timing on those chip notes.
And this will also be the first chart where you might be expected to maybe hit some notes in the middle with your other hand instead of being strictly using your, say, your right hand for the right two notes. You might have to use it for that second from the left button. And you'll also be expected to move both of the lasers at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. With this jump up, you know, you may have noticed we moved up to an advanced chart at the level 10, so, you know, doubling the difficulty level here. And once you get up there, yeah, you generally, you know, back in the Novice 5 we just saw, it generally was just a, you know, a single button push or a single knob turn at a time. Here, you're gonna, you are by default expected to be active with both hands at the same time. So right there, we saw the blue knob with the buttons. There's the pink knob with the buttons. There's a hold on the A with some buttons elsewhere. Yeah, you can generally expect that you are, once you're like at and above this level, you are almost always going to have to be doing more than one thing at a time. And that's only going to get more complicated as we progress. And another UC, no missed notes from Ellie here. Not that I'd expect anything less from him. He is an Imperial ranker, which is the top rank class available. There are subclasses above, you know, you can get to Imperial 1, 2, and 3. I think Imperial 4 is still not physically possible yet. There's not enough 20s to get your rank that high. But yeah, he is Imperial 1, and that is a very strong player.
Imperial 1 is quite difficult to reach, so it is no small feat.
Do we have time?
And we're just going to keep up with the jump ups in 5 points of difficulty and going up to the 3rd difficulty slot. So we've got Infinity Overdrive Exhaust 15. He's also going to turn up his lane speed a little bit here. You'll note the notes are scrolling a little faster. You know, something that a question I get a lot from people who are less familiar with rhythm games is like, why would you make the notes scroll faster? Doesn't that just make the game harder? But the thing is, like, the notes are still, you know, they're still in time with the music. You still have to hit them just as fast. What speeding them up like this does is spreads them out vertically a little bit so that you can, so that they're a little easier to read. You know, think of it more like, you know, if you were to, you know, take a book and increase the size of the font and make the spacing a little wider between the letters. It can make words easier to process that way. It's kind of the same principle here. This chart also has a lot of crosshand knobs, so you're going to see sometimes that he'll be like hitting you know, the A and C button with his left hand and then crossing his right hand over to the left knob to hit it. Or alternatively, kind of, you know, cheesing a little bit and doing a big stretch with his thumbs from the effect buttons over the knobs, which is almost never intended by the chart writers, but it's definitely an avenue you can take as opponents. Also, yeah, we'll see here a lot of times that there'll be both lasers on screen, but one of them's kind of a fake out. Like this pink laser here is just straight the entire time. As long as you start with the laser tab at the bottom of the interface lined up with that, you don't have to touch that knob at all. In fact, when a laser is straight, you can wiggle that knob all you want. It'll stay locked onto the laser. There's nothing you can do to actually make it fail. Yep. Some more cross-hand knobs here. If you watch the hand cab, you'll see him crossing those hands over.
The other thing to note too with lasers is you really don't have to move the knobs that much as long as you're just moving the direction. Doesn't matter how fast you're turning the knobs. All matters is the direction. And another UC, very nice.
Yeah, it's actually a common misconception with people first trying to pick up the game that, you know, they see, oh, you know, this laser's just barely slanting to the right. I need to turn it to the right really slowly. If I turn it too fast, it's going to fall off the end. It actually doesn't. The game actually doesn't check for that. It is just a pretty much a true false check. Like the laser's moving right. Is the knob turning right? Yeah. Okay, then you're good. You're comboing it. If you and it actually like it will fall off if it's like moving and you're not turning it, and it'll fall off faster if you're actively turning it in the wrong direction. But there's actually a lot of wiggle room in terms of keeping those lasers on the scratch here. So we're seeing our first of the 4th difficulty slot. Thankfully and mercifully for Ellie's sake, we stopped the increasing the difficulty by 5 points. I don't think he's warmed up enough for a 20 yet. And we are going into a 16 here. I do love this song, Adam Sonia. It's such a different style of music than what you tend to hear in rhythm games. Just kind of a chill bossa nova beat from Swedes here. And something you'll notice though is that again, he's turned up the lane speed a little bit, but if you watch that BPM and lane speed here, this song in particular has a really erratic BPM. It's just like the tempo for the song wasn't normalized in production, so it's going to be spiking all over the place, which actually makes timing it consistently pretty hard.
Yep, anytime that you see that number going red or blue, not only is that BPM changing, but the lane speed is also very slightly adjusting. It's much more noticeable on some other charts where the BPM changes are super drastic, but it's only very minor BPM changes in this song, so you won't be seeing that number move too much, but it is present. I have time to do a donation before the next chart. We got any?
Fantastic, we absolutely do. We have a $25 donation from Hockey Babbler towards the Undertale song Bid War incentive for Save the World, with the comment, "I've gay." And Hockey Babbler, I've gay too. We also have another $25 donation from Nilsson, excuse me if I pronounced that incorrectly, towards the 7th Dawn Showcase. So no comment, but thank you so much for your donation.
Yeah, funny thing, the I Have Gay shirt that Ellie is wearing is actually based off of there's a song from this game that just uses the album art from the album it was originally released on, and it just looks exactly like that shirt, except it just has the album title on it. And yeah, I don't know when he picked this shirt up, but it's a classic. He wears it for almost every tournament rhythm game tournament we've been to together. He makes sure to put that shirt on at some point. I love it. So we're moving on to the next song, and bumping the difficulty up by 1 again. We're going into Saka Mirage Exhaust 17. This one is a very single technique chart. You're gonna see a lot of these 2-note adjacent chords, like this A B B C C D chord, and you're gonna see them get really fast towards the end. This is actually kind of one of those new player killers when you're first trying to break into 17s, because it really just tests the ability to hit fast chords like that, like no other 17 does, other than maybe Booth of Fighters. It's very, very challenging chart to execute well.
There's also some very tricky trills, which is typically you're using this one hand to hit just back and forth on 2 buttons in a very quick succession. You got several spots where you're doing very awkward one-handed trills while also holding down the orange button, and they're very difficult to time.
And yeah, we're going to see a lot of something that is expected at a higher level is just the ability to do those quick trills between the L and R buttons there. And yeah, here's some of the Soccer Mirage chord rush here. You'll note those overlapping patterns where it's like DC, BC, CD, and you really have to make sure you're lifting your hand, you're just bouncing your hand off those buttons real quick to sneak your other hand in to hit that overlapping note without just holding the button all the way through. It's a very difficult technique to get down. and even at high levels, you'll pretty frequently see misses from there just not cleanly releasing the buttons.
Let me take a look real quick.
Yeah, a 995 on Sakura Mirage is quite good.
A little bit.
Yeah, looking at our next song up, I think we're looking at Bioslaves Maximum coming up next. Okay. Fair.
Alrighty, everyone, we're just taking a short break to optimize the stream a little bit further. Thanks all so much, everyone, for joining in, for hanging out with us. We still have the Undertale Song Bid War incentive running. Megalovania is in the lead, but Battle Against a True Hero is coming up. And I believe we have about 4 songs left to go. So if you want to put any donations in there to get your song of choice, now's the time to do it. We also have the 7th Dawn Showcase, which is at $482 out of $777. So if you want to send some support and love over there, it is all very, very much appreciated. How's everyone enjoying the show so far, by the way? I know that I'm watching these and my mind is melting. Absolutely. Yes, and let's have a big shout out to our tech team as well. They are absolutely fantastic. They've been putting in so much work behind the scenes to keep everything running smoothly. By the way, let's talk about prizes. Y'all know that we got prizes here, right? Thanks to the incredible generosity of our Fastest First community, we have a huge assortment of prizes, including a unique grand prize for each day throughout the event. For day 2, which is today, if you have a cumulative donation of at least $50, you'll be automatically qualified to win our Day 2 grand prize, which is a giant Cavendish Balatro Perler, which has been donated by the Scuba Pup. This is an 18 by 13 inch Perler piece of artwork, and it features one of the community's favorite Jokers. There are additional prizes available as well if you make a single donation of at least $25. For a full list of the prizes available for each day, you can use the command !prizes in chat. Also, I would love to hear if there are any prizes that you have your eye on. And of course, Fastest First Fall Fest 2024 is all in support of Trans Lifeline. In 2024, November 13th to 19th marked the annual Transgender Awareness Week, and November 20th marked the annual Transgender Day of Remembrance. We're proud to be putting this on, putting on this event in hope of raising awareness for the issues facing transgender people and gender non-conforming people everywhere. We encourage you to support Trans Lifeline and their life-saving work by making a donation using the command !donate in chat. And for more information, visit www.translifeline.org. And I'm getting word that we're ready to continue, so let's kick it off again.
Okay. Apologies about that slight break. So, next song, I think Sweeney mentioned it's going to be Bioslaves. I'll let them take it away.
Yeah, so we're coming up on we're gonna sit at the 17 difficulty level for a little bit. We're going in with Bioslaves. This is a very kind of like Sakura Mirage. It's a very button focused chart over knobs, but in a very different way. Whereas Sakura Mirage was mainly about the chord runs, Bioslaves actually has very few, if any, chords. I don't think it has any actually. It is all just going to be what we like to call jacks, or short for jackhammers. You're going to see the same button repeatedly pressed multiple times in very quick succession. Can be really tough to execute consistently. In some cases, you might see him alternate hands on the same button. Other times, you might just see him, just kind of bounce with the one finger. There's a lot of ways to approach it, and depending on the player, everyone has a different approach to it. Coming back into coming out of these slams, there's going to be a lot more of these jacks coming up. There's some really long ones, I think, coming up in a little bit from here. Got these. Okay, now there's the chord section here with these double tapped chords. Can be a little trickier to read when it mixes like the L and R with the A, B, C, and D. You do kind of have to be able to pick out the different colored notes and figure out which ones to hit, and especially like when you get ones that overlap the same lanes. Something that just comes with practice is just being able to read those different chord patterns here and being able to tell when there's a B or a C, an A or a B overlapping with an L, etc., etc. Really long jack here, and ooh, nice hitting all of them. Dragging a little late there, but just hitting it just fine.
The other thing to note too is you'll also see these bright orange button notes. When they're bright orange like that, they're actually key sounded. So depending on how he hits it, you can kind of hear by how it affects the song with how it sounds.
Yeah, and the funny thing about that is that I believe the game actually will not let you hit those early. I think if you hit them early, you will just get a crit judgment, regardless of how early it was. As long as you don't hit the error window, it'll just delay the key sound and give you a good judgment on it. Obviously, the same doesn't apply for lates because it can't travel back in time and hit them retroactively. But it's actually those glowing gold notes are a little bit more lenient. So after those two very button-focused charts, we are going to completely flip that on its head as we transition up into the 18 difficulty block. We're going to start with what's I think generally considered a pretty easy 18, but it can look pretty mind-blowing to those not familiar with high-level sound Voltex. Opium and Purple Haze Gravity 18 is all about the knobs. Right after we're done with this intro and we're into these lasers, it's going to be pretty much all lasers from here on out, coupled with a few button hits, most notably some really long holds that are going to force a lot of crazy fast cross hands on the knobs. So once we get to those longer holds coming up, you'll probably want to peek the hand cam just to watch the motions he's having to do to keep up with these lasers. There's also going to be some really fast back and forth slams here. Just kind of force some really fast wiggling with one of the hands. Those can be pretty tough to hit.
Yeah. And the laser charts too, you do have to be careful about turning too early, because if you turn too early and it's going the opposite way, you will get just a massive drop. So especially on these kind of slanted lasers, but not quite going full horizontally, it can be easy to drop with some patterns.
And yeah, flawless execution on the first crosshand section. We will be coming up on another one soon. And there's another pretty fast 16th note wiggle coming up here. Ooh, nice, nailing it. And into the second crosshand section, which will pretty much run to the end of the track here. Yeah, just having one hand alternating on the holds in the center of the buttons, while the other hand flips back and forth between the knobs, and finishing off with a 997. That's a pretty solid run of Opium and Purple Haze.
Oh yeah, 997 on any laser chart really is always very nice. Usually on laser charts, if you typically won't be missing just one laser. If you end up erring on a laser, it'll typically be several, so it can really eat into your score.
And we've we're coming up on the on MIDI Deluxe as our next 18 maximum 18. Worth adding that I believe the Undertale song will be after this, so if you want to rock the boat at the last second and switch the song we're gonna hear, this is your last chance. Sneak in a donation for Battle Against a True Hero or Save the World or Finale over Megalovania.
That's right. Battle Against a True Hero is under $100 away from Megalovania, which is sitting at a $136 amount. So if you want to make that happen, now's your chance.
So yeah, MIDI Deluxe, a song by a staple of a lot of rhythm game song lists, MIDI, known for very aggressive like speedcore and such, and certainly not out of his wheelhouse here with a 410 BPM song here. It's going to be a lot of fast motions here. The camera angles and playfield tilts are also rather harsh here in this song, so it can be pretty hard to keep up with.
Anytime that the camera adjusts super vertically like that, it can really make it quite difficult to time properly because of just how much of a difference that makes. Because outside of those times where it goes full-on vertical or does crazy spins like that, which you'll occasionally see, it'll almost always be kind of at this slant.
Yeah, it can really mess with your just kind of like muscle memory and like just mental game, because like in most rhythm games, you kind of as you get used to it, you generally kind of have like a specific area or spot that you tend to focus on. And Sound Voltex, kind of is a little standout from a lot of other traditional rhythm games, in that the playfield is like pitching and tilting everywhere, so you can't really focus on one spot for every song and have it always work out. Sometimes you gotta shift your focus a little bit to be able to keep up with the patterns. And coming up on the finish here, ooh, just barely sneaking in with the 990 there for the S rank.
Very nice.
Well done. So I do have a quick donation, unless you would prefer the incentive winner first.
Oh yeah, I can do incentive winner first, just to speed the menus along.
Alrighty. So in first we have Megalovania.
Alrighty. Going to the bone zone, let's go.
To the surprise of absolutely nobody.
I do have a quick donation if there's time for that.
Yeah, go for it.
Yep.
Alrighty. From Side Angle CJ, we have a $3 donation towards the bid war for Battle Against a True Hero with a comment, trans rights. Also, Battle Against a True Hero is an amazing song, and you are absolutely right about that. Thank you so much for your support.
Yeah, Battle Against the True Hero of the song choices that were on offer is actually probably my favorite chart out of the lot. But Megalovania is pretty neat too, and we're gonna see like a lot of the creativity you can do with the way that like Sound Voltex has like kind of freeform lasers that you can just kind of plop down wherever. You're actually gonna see a lot of a lot of little references to the Undertale fight. Something else interesting to note is that the Undertale songs actually get a unique background, and you'll notice that the soul actually shifts around whenever Ellie rotates the knobs a little bit. One of the knobs moves it on the vertical axis and on the y-axis, and the other moves it on the x-axis. I'm forgetting which one's which right now, but yeah, if you watch whenever there's a laser on screen, you'll probably see that soul in the background shift around. It's a really nice little touch. Megalovania, though, as far as 18s go, is pretty tough, especially with like some of the knobs. So yeah, there we go. We see drawing the little bones from the Sands fight for Megalovania. Yeah, you'll see a few of those bones drawn throughout the song.
Yeah, out of the Undertale song choices that we could have had, this one's definitely the hardest in terms of how the knob patterns are. They got some very confusing ones, especially towards the end. They come in all sorts of different directions where they're not... You wouldn't typically expect them to be
Oh, and this one kind of has, like I mentioned before, kind of like right that section we just got through has a lot of kind of like fake out lasers where there's just a bunch of lasers that are completely straight. You don't have to touch the knobs at all, but they're there to just kind of add a little bit of visual clutter, just a little bit of extra confusion to the game. Part of being able to play Sound Voltex effectively is just being able to filter out visual noise like that, you know, in the form of lasers that you don't actually have to do anything about, or you know, very heavy playfield tilts. You just kind of got to be able to focus in and filter out what's important. And wow, 995, that's such a solid run on that.
Yeah, 995 is crazy good score on that. It is a very difficult chart.
And yeah, just want to say thanks to everyone who donated to that bid war and got us to have a bad time for a brief moment. Although, you know, looking at that score, I don't think Ellie had a bad time at all.
Yeah, we always take up scores. It's always a good time. Coming up next, we're coming up on, you know, we kind of sped through, but we're finally getting to the tutorial at our own speed.
Yeah, and so this is our first 19, and I'd say 19 is like kind of like the big wall of Sound Voltex. Difficulty 19 is like what the game starts to consider kind of quote-unquote boss songs. So it's like where you see like the, you know, the songs that like appear at the you know, the end of long like event and unlock chains, with the intent of it, you know, just being the, you know, the final thing you have to conquer to, you know, finish the chapter of the story. And so this is Tutorial, which was the final boss song of Omega Dimension Chapter 2, I believe, back in Heavenly Haven. I'm trying to remember when Heavenly Haven was, like 2018?
Yeah, I want to say it was 2018 because I believe 2019 was Vivid Wave, and now we have been in Exceed Gear for, I believe, since 2021.
Yeah. And oh yeah, something that comes with a lot of the boss songs, we get full character art popping up in the background to, you know, really kind of sell the idea that it's the boss song and you're fighting against this character. And yeah, it's the tutorial. Professor Maxima in the background telling you to listen before the next onslaught of notes arrives. Annoyingly, the text kind of blocks like where I like to read the notes.
Absolutely same, bud. You know, you just gotta follow his instructions and listen. Go.
Yeah. As long as you listen before you go, you should be just fine.
And the other thing that you'll notice with 19s is it's like we said, they are very difficult. You'll see with almost all of these, the note density goes up by just an insane amount. It is such a huge step up in difficulty from 18s, and once we get to 20s, it'll be another just absolutely massive step up in difficulty. As for 19s, we have maybe, I want to say, like 150 or so 19s total in the game, but only like 27 20s.
Yeah, the 20s that we are going to see towards the end of the run are really something else. Especially, you know, again, thank you all for donating for the boss rush incentive. Sudden death at the end, like at the end of that, I've been, you know, I've seen a lot of people argue that it's time to update the difficulty scale. We need to go up to 21, and sudden death is the 21. Like that's it. That's our 21. It's just that. Like it's hard to describe and explain to someone who like isn't well versed in the game just how much harder it is than all the other 20s and why it's so difficult. But I mean, like, I can sum it up as just it's really fast. It's really fast.
Oh,
yeah. Can I sum it up as 20 more than what I can handle?
Now we are going into Sir Gaff. This is absolutely banger song. This chart is pretty fun, but it is also very difficult, as it's got some absolutely brutal chords, especially towards the end of the chart, where you can just absolutely err almost the entire thing if you start on the wrong note.
Yeah, pretty much every 19, like with very few exceptions, and we're not going to see the ones see those, but almost every 19 has something absolutely brutal about it. Like none of them are any pushovers. They'll give even the some of the strongest players, you know, those Imperial 2, Imperial 3 players a run for their money even. The top end, players, people like Mini, some of the people that are, winning the Konami Arcade Championships. So a lot of them, despite having gotten the full S crit, S puck on all the lower charts, a lot of them still don't have that kind of score on the majority of the 19 catalog. We haven't seen a whole lot of 19 S pucks. All the 19s are super, super challenging.
Yeah, and I believe to date, there's only ever been 120 S puck, and it has been by many, who is pretty widely considered just the best of the best.
Was it Sayonara Planet Wars Exceed, I think?
Yep.
Yeah, yes. and he did like within a day of that chart dropping.
Yeah, it was crazy how fast he locked in.
I was so close to dropping excessive there.
Yeah, we haven't really talked much about the gauge, the life gauge. So, Sound Voltex has two styles of life meter. The standard one is called effective rate, which just starts at 0 and builds as you hit notes and drains as you miss notes. There's also excessive gauge, which is kind of the hard mode gauge, which is what we're seeing on the right here. It starts at 100%, but on any miss, it'll drain sharply, and it will only recover a little bit from recovered notes. So it really demands that you're consistent and that you're missing very few notes across the whole chart. We have what's called ARS enabled, which will start it with excessive, and if it fails, if it hits 0 and invokes the fail condition for excessive, it'll switch over to effective rate. It's actually tracking both styles of life gauge actively throughout the song, and it'll just switch over to effective if Ellie should ever fail out in excessive. But yeah, we're moving on to Holy Trail here. This one's a fun one.
Yeah, this has got both a mix of very dense chords, but it's also got two very tricky laser sections, one in the middle and one near the end. Depending on how Ellie decides to hit this, he might opt for cross-handing it or doing haha funny thumb strats by just hitting a hold note with his thumb and then just only very briefly moving up to hit the knobs.
And we saw a little bit of kind of what the game refers to as hand trip back there on those hold sections, where we saw Ellie just having to throw his right hand from the right knob all the way over to the A button and then back. That can be very challenging to execute properly. It's a deceptively high distance for your hand to travel, and you do have to be careful and know exactly where your hands are. Lord knows I have multiple times trying to do maneuvers like that, just slammed my finger into the side of a knob and bruised the tip a little bit. It's pretty tough to nail right.
And another hard clear on a 19, which we always take. Those 19s are very difficult and just very hard to consistently score on. Hard clears are just in general a win in my book, though.
Yeah, we did see that gauge get pretty low, though. I think it was at 18%. 18.7%. Excessive gauge actually does have a little bit of a mercy as it drains lower. I think once you get below, I want to say it's 30%, missed notes will drain a little less than they do up to that point, but it's not by much. You still can't afford too many misses even when you get that low.
Yeah. And speaking of hand trip, we're also going to touch a bit into what we call Soflan, which is we saw a little bit earlier with Ed and Sonia. where the BPM is just constantly changing and changing as well the lane speed. So there's going to be a lot of Soflan, and there's also going to be a lot of hand trip as he constantly has to switch his hand to the opposite side of the controller to either turn a knob or hit a button.
Yeah, and it's this is a little bit different from like the tempo changes we saw in Album Sonia, which was just kind of like a subtle change to just keep the song in sync. Here, like we just saw back there, yeah, this is a more pronounced one where it just like cuts the scroll speed in half, and you have to read a denser, slower note speed scroll there. And yeah, in case you're wondering, fun fact as to why the tempo changes like that are called Soflan. That's because of a song in one of the old Beatmania entries called "Soft Landing on the Body," which just randomly doubled the scroll speed at one point in the song, like just kind of like in the middle of a measure, even I think. That chart kind of became notorious for that, and Japanese players just kind of shortened the name "Soft Landing on the Body" to Soflan, and it's just become the universal community term for referring to tempo gimmicks that affect the scroll speed like that.
And if you saw earlier in the hand cam, Ellie actually did a double crosshand to hit one of the laser sections. There's not many charts where that's forced. I believe this is one, and he's not playing in the showcase, but Daisy Cutter is also another one where you are forced to do a double crosshand. So you have to crosshand and then go under your other arm to hit the other half of the crosshand. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is so disorienting and so difficult to turn knobs the right way. Like it already takes quite a bit of practice to get it right when you're having to just do a single crosshand where you've got like your left hand holding a button down while your right hand goes over the left knob. But when you've got both hands on the opposite knobs, it is so hard to keep up with it. Oh, and nice! Just barely eking out that excessive clear. 5.59% left in the gauge.
Very nice. And that'll bring us to our final 19, which will be Xenogravity. Is an incredibly button dense chart. It'll probably the most dense chart so far. And it's just so stupidly fast. It's hard to put into words, but you'll get to see it pretty soon.
Yeah, you're actually you may have noticed as the song was starting up there, Ellie turning up the lane speed, turning up the scroll speed of the notes, just to try and put a little bit more space in between those notes and make these dense patterns a little easier to parse. But yeah, something you're going to see here, like in rapid staircases like that. You're also going to be seeing a lot of setups where, you're probably your generally naturally inclined inclination is going to be to have, left hand on A, B, L, and right hand on C, D, R. But you might see him shift that a lot just to help with the density in some spots in this. Yeah, just want to point out, though, the absurd BPM up in the top left, 286, and he's having to hit like a pretty continuous like 16 streams in this, like 286. At that speed, I'm trying to do the math in my head real quick, but I'm pretty sure that's like somewhere that should be somewhere close to like 18 notes a second or so when there's a continuous 16 stream going. Like that's fast. That is freaking fast.
Especially as we get towards the end of this chart, you'll see some just absolutely brutal stairs. I want to say they're at 30 seconds. I want to say that's roughly how fast.
Yeah, which at this speed is just absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, we're coming up on the ending here. Yeah, these patterns are so hard to follow at this speed. And these chord jacks right here. And yeah, there's really awkward broken up patterns on the end here, but...
Wow, actually hitting them pretty cleanly, too.
Wow! Full gauge!
Very
engage
nice.
in a AAA plus on that. All right.
That might even be a slight PB, which very nice.
Oh, looks like one or two nears short on the score PB, but that was an EX score PB. Plus 12 on the EX score. Yeah, Ellie here just barely missing, dropping a fresh PB. That would have been a hot one to get there. But it is time to move up. I did mention before, those paying attention, that Sound Voltex is based on a 20-point scale, and we have arrived. We are seeing our first maximum 20. We're starting off with what I arguably might be like one of the easiest ones. I'd say probably it's more of an intro level one, but don't want to undersell the difficulty of this chart. Feel seasickness all about the Soulflons. You're going to see the scroll speed jumping all over the place. You're going to see really irregular rhythms all over the place, and you're going to see during the longest slowdown a long, crazy mixed hold section that is darn near impossible to read accurately. I cannot parse that section at all.
Yeah, that section's always really impressive to watch people do. When I play this, I can't do that section where if I have to basically do the rest of the chart perfectly to even stand a chance.
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna see the gradual speed down here as this laser just wiggles back and forth. And here comes that hold section. Yeah, good luck following whatever this is, and that is our first excessive clear drop. And we see the life gauge switching over to effective rate here.
Yeah, no shame in that on 20s, though. 20s are absolutely brutal.
Yeah, and these effects jacks coming out of that section are so fast to hit. That's so fast to hit the same button repeatedly like that. You pretty much have to alternate hands to hit it accurately. But yeah, as the song speeds up, we kind of get a little bit of a break. These knobs can be a little tough to read accurately, but certainly a lot easier to follow than the section we just came out of.
If you don't mind a quick chime in, I just had to say, I think passing a level 20 song, or acing it rather, is pretty worthy of a $20 donation. What do you guys think?
Absolutely.
For sure. And there we go, getting a 974, pretty solid AAA run on Feel Seasickness. Yeah, just barely not able to piece together the excessive clear there. Again, that middle section is a killer. Whenever you are not holding a long note, a hold note, it will rapidly drain your life bar for every tick that you are not holding that note. So it's not surprising to see that fail happen. But yeah, that said, we are going to jump straight from what I was just saying is one of the easier 20s to one of the harder ones. 666. Pretty notorious for some really fast, unique patterns. And, of course, has the trademark 666 BPM over on the left there. So right off the bat, we're going to start off with some pretty fast one-handed patterns, and then we're going to see some really fast chord stairs, which are pretty hard to do the motions for here.
Yeah, these, I'm pretty sure, are the fastest chord stairs in the game. They're just absolutely brutal, and basically with any pattern in a 20, like, you mess up how you start it, you're going to be in for a world of pain. And the other thing to note, too, is that since this is at 666 BPM, one of the things that we've not mentioned is BPM actually plays a very large part in how both lasers and hold notes affect your score. The higher the BPM, the more often they tick. So you want to make sure you're hitting all the lasers and holds that you can, because you're going to need them to get a good score and just to survive at this point in the game.
So a little bit of a denser button section here as we head towards the song's climax. Again, I mentioned before, game loves to do some pretty crazy things for its boss songs, and so we have here the playfield goes vertical and gets sliced by the boss character. It says in her wolf costume here, but it doesn't stop there. Once we finish this build up right here, she cuts the playfield in half. The animation kind of desynced there. That was weird.
Yeah, that was a little odd, but What's a Konami rhythm game without a little bit of jank?
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so now there's just an empty divide in the middle of the field, and you just gotta read it. And we're coming up on a really unique and very difficult pattern to hit at the end here. You might want to watch the hand cam here to see how he hits this. You gotta hit. Yeah, look at that, alternating his hands, just like looks like 2 at a time to hit those A, B, L chords. Just a long chain of it. I remember watching when this chart debuted at KAC. Seeing what like
Getting is here. There you go.
barely getting the clear there, even on the effective rate. It's such a hard chart. Yeah, I remember watching the KAC finalists, like some of the top players in the game, getting to that those ending jacks, and like one of them, like you could not figure out whether he should just mash it with one hand or try to alternate. Like he just had no idea what he was supposed to do, and he's like an absolute top ranked player. Just getting completely stumped by the ending. Like that is getting that clear is no easy feat. So props to Ellie on that.
Yeah. One thing that we haven't really touched on is so Konami hosts 2 kind of like yearly and seasonally tournaments. The BPL, the Bamani Pro League, and the KAC, which is the Konami Arcade Championships. Typically, the players that play in these, well, they'll go through the whole tournament, and at the end they will have them sight read several new songs, and typically the finalists will be sight reading a brand new 20. So the top players have to do it completely blind, all on stage. It's crazy to watch live.
Yeah, for sure. And it really does give you, it does like really hit home just like how far and away like the absolute top end players are, because I'm pretty sure I've seen like someone like Mini like just sight read the new 20 like back when it was Embryo, and it was that was the hardest chart in the game at the time, and he just like casually sight reads it and gets like 7 years in an error on it, just never having seen the chart before. Yeah, top level Sound Voltex players are absolutely terrifying to me.
Yeah, they are just on a completely different level, I believe. For this one in particular, this is also just an insanely difficult chart, one of the hardest in the game by a pretty large margin. One of the finalists, Leviern, I believe he got a 993 on his sight read, which is just absolutely insane because of all of the very intuitive patterns that show up in this chart.
Yeah, this pattern definitely throws a lot of wrenches and a lot of gears. So, yeah, watch out for these fast, alternating chord runs here. Yeah, just very tough to follow. But yeah, Ellie coming in with the pass here. 78.3 on the effective gauge with the 949. Yeah, that is such. Oh, that's a PB. That's a PB for him. Nice.
Hey, let's go.
I wasn't able to pass that during all of my practice sessions, so that's really awesome.
Very nice. We
so
love
that
to see
is it for the main showcase, and since all of you donated so generously to get this boss rush incentive met, we're going to go ahead and start that. We have 5 more 20s featuring antagonist characters from the 3rd installment, some Voltex Gravity Wars, and I'm just going to get right into it.
Yeah, so yeah, again, thank you all so much for your generous donations. Love to see it. Love to see everyone putting money to a great cause and towards, making Ellie's hands suffer just a little bit more.
Yeah, and how about we cheer LA on with a $5 donation train? Can we get that going, chat? I know you got it in you.
See it.
All right, so we're starting off with Imakimi ni, which is an absolute banger of a song by Silent Room. I actually love this song so much for it. Just like when you play enough rhythm games, you kind of know, like, okay, like someone was trying to make a boss song here, like, it's some 250 BPM speedcore song with a bunch of really fast bass kicks. Like, okay, yeah, they were going for boss song. Like this is a 20, and like it doesn't carry the vibe of it, and I love that kind of break from defiance of expectations in this sort of field.
Yeah, it's always very nice and refreshing to get boss songs that aren't just brutally fast BPM wise at like over 300 BPM or some crazy nonsense like that. It's just a nice, still quite fast, 176, but it's
make no
very
mistake.
refreshing.
Like this is, I'd say this is generally a little bit more of a tame of the 20s, but still a 20 nonetheless. A lot of tricky things you got to watch out for here. Here we have the character showing up for this. I actually feel really bad. I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. You got me covered here?
No, I'm very bad with names. I know my boy Maxima, but
okay. I have to pull up the notes. Haruka Kyobate. Oh, and there we go. Ellie just dropping the excessive gauge right there. But yeah, I know this character appears in like the Alpha Omega jackets. That was kind of the boss song for his arc back in Gravity Wars. Coming up towards the end of this, this crazy run to this like barely audible synth here just kind of suddenly shows up out of nowhere, and then we've got another Sophon here, but it comes at the end of a long break here, so Ellie able to just adjust the scroll speed down so that he doesn't get overwhelmed by the dramatically increased scroll speed for this outro. These lasers can be tricky. And yeah, this one last button run, and coming in for the finish. Pretty comfortable pass with a 94.8 effective rate. Excuse me. 955.
Just going to cut in here for a second here. We are still working towards the 7th Dan Showcase incentive. We are at 507 out of 777. And we do have a donation I figured I'd put my money where my mouth is, so $25 for a $5 donation train. And let's keep that going. Let's give Ellie all of our energy. Ellie's been doing a fantastic job, and we still need your support, so get them in. Thank you so much, everyone, for your support.
Yep, he's definitely going to be needing it as we go into some of the faster 20s. This one starts out with some pretty fast trills.
Yeah, this opening run gives a lot of players trouble. And yeah, that's just absurdly fast. The staircase right there is super hard to keep up with. Yeah, Bluebin is, I think, considered one of probably top 5 most difficult charts. I don't know. I haven't been keeping up with the last few updates, but I know at the time it was launched, it kind of got squarely slammed into the 20 S rank subcategory in the community rankings list. It is brutally fast, and there's a really tricky gradual tempo up in the middle that is really hard to time well. They're coming up on the break in the slowdown here. Yeah, chart's gonna come to a complete stop. I just love this part of the song. But we're gonna start. We're gonna head towards the build up, towards the impossible speed up here, as we finish this music box section.
Yep. The character will slowly start to appear on screen. This is going to be De Saint-Co Ilka, I hope I pronounced that right, which don't actually have the song that she first appeared on Konaste.
Because she first appeared in Zaihate, Shihate, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, which was actually a license. So yeah, hasn't been brought over to Konaste. A lot of the licenses tend to remain arcade only. A little reference to another 19 from Missile Punch in the music there to Finn Arkdir. Missile Punch kind of loves to throw in little references back to older tracks. It's absurdly fast trill right there. Ellie managed to get through it with pretty minimal damages.
Looks like we're gonna have a pretty solid clear.
Yeah, looking like a AAA. Not quite, but pretty close to a AAA on that, which is a very solid run.
Yeah, that was a very, very good play on Bloomin'.
All right, just a couple left here. We're gonna have I think our next song will be Akasha.
Yeah, this is personally my favorite 20 song wise. There's not many 20s that are below 200 BPM. This is one of them, and so was Inikami earlier. I think it might just be those two that are below 200 BPM. I want to say all the others are above 200.
Yeah, and Unikini even like at the end like shoots the scroll speed past up above 200 if you want to count that. The song is like musically it doesn't really get up there, but yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, again, when composers are trying to get a song in as the boss song in the next chapter or next event, there's definitely a tendency to just, you know, go, well, you know, faster is harder. Gotta make something really fast. And so, yeah, it's definitely kind of a breath of fresh air to see, you know, I say, you know, only 180 BPM, but like, you know, as far as like music as a whole goes, 180 is still pretty fast.
Oh yeah, and there's just some pretty fast trills, some fast chord rushes as well.
Oh, and we'll throw out a bright lights, you know, warning for this one, because this one really kind of cranks up the visual gimmicks. We're gonna kind of see some like color inversions and stuff towards the back end of this song. So, you know, if you are sensitive to that, just bear that in mind as we make our way through Akasha here.
Yep. Anybody who uses dark mode, make sure you get your sunglasses ready.
Here's the grand reveal of the boss character, as is typical for most of the 20s.
This is Portlinde. They were first shown in Preserve of Valkyria, which is another crazy Soflon-heavy chart.
Her full name is Ortlinde =NBLG =Valkyria. I don't know if the equal signs are meant to be pronounced. They're probably not. But yeah, definitely some odd character names for sure. You know, definitely got to have that cool anime character vibe going.
Oh, absolutely.
Even if, you know, it results in completely nonsensical names. Coming up on the end here, just a couple of quick laser rushes here, and coming into the finish line, finishing with a full gauge. Nice.
Well, I've got some good news for you. We have 4 donations queued up right here. We have a $10 donation from Sparkling Pony towards the 7th Dan Showcase. Thank you so much for your... We have a $20 donation from Lemma EOF, also towards the 7th Dan Showcase, saying, thank you for helping fight for trans people when we need it the most. Let's get that 7th Dan Showcase. We have a $7.77 donation from Hockey Babbler, saying, $7.77 donation train to hit that 7-7 target for the 7th Dan Showcase. Come on, chat, you can spare just under $8. Thank you again for your support.
And so,
but one more. We also have a $250 donation from Ash Astral towards the 7th Dan Showcase. No comment, but thank you so much for your support, y'all. And I'm checking right now, but I think we hit that.
Yo, nice. Let's go.
And the answer is yes, we did.
Awesome. So yeah, we're firing right into the 4th song in our boss rush here. I think it's meant to be pronounced Eclipse, but you know they really for boss song designs they love trying to replace as many letters as possible to try and make it look and sound cooler. So you know you can pronounce it Eclipse if you want. But yeah, Eclipse here is. Yeah, pretty blisteringly fast at 271 BPM. There's just going to be a lot of raw speed going on here at that tempo. Yeah, the boss character, who I believe will show up shortly, Riot Destrudo, you know, the giant mech is the name of the giant mech, piloted by Lionel Karl-Heinz von Goldel. Who originally appeared in a, you know, another fairly famous at the time, you know, boss line back then called Blastix Riots. Used to be kind of the the top end speed chart, but my how times have changed since Gravity
Oh,
Wars.
it's been so many since then.
Yeah, well, I'm actually very impressed by how long Ellie kept that excessive gauge alive. He like almost instantly dropped to like 5% in the first 10% of the song, and only just like a few seconds ago lost the excessive gauge. Really just holding on and having a solid mid stretch.
Yeah, this chart will very heavily push your stamina with just how blistering fast and power intensive a lot of the patterns are. And at the end here, you'll see just this absolutely insanely fast trill.
Yeah, if you were watching the hand cam, you might have seen he was actually alternating 2 fingers on each of the B and C buttons just to try and keep up, and it still like isn't fast enough. Like you just can't keep up with that trill. It's so gosh darn fast.
I'm so tired.
Well, good news for you. You get to go from that right into what I was just hyping up as probably the hardest chart in the whole game.
Oh, absolutely.
So, I was kind of talking about how much I love, when the music producers, tend to move away from like, oh yes, this is the boss song, I'm going to make things fast. This is unabashedly Mori Yatsushi and Zai just saying, let's make the hardest rhythm game song we can come up with. And like just, yeah, sure, 236 BPM. There's just piano playing 16th note and 24th note rhythms, just like the entire song. Why not just throw the whole kitchen sink and the oven too while we're at the player. And the charters definitely just leaned right into it and made what is the most brutally dense chart in the entire game.
Yeah, it's just kind of unfair how fast and difficult this is. Just trills and stairs going at ridiculous speeds, and if that wasn't enough, there's even some very tricky two-handed patterns, like just there and later in the chart. You'll see there's a FX jack that's pretty much required to two-hand.
And so yeah, the character in the background is Grace, who kind of served as the main antagonist back in the Gravity Wars story mode. So kind of a fitting way to end the boss rush here. Yeah, Ellie kind of looking at a promising effective gauge, but the ending of this chart is everything. Yeah, okay, breaking into the 70% mark, which is what you need to clear on effective, but yeah, the ending is where everything just all heck breaks loose. These trills are so fast and so hard to hit. We're seeing the gauge just flicker in and out of the pass mark. Just needs to try and finish with above 70%. It's right on the edge. Can he get it? No, that ending stair is just too brutal. I think you just kind of need to get in there with some gauge to spare.
Yeah.
Yeah, just playing with the border and making it look possible, but then to get snapped back to reality with that ending run, and just shot right down to 50s.
It's a valiant effort.
It's a valiant attempt for sure.
You got this.
One song left. Tone it down a bit.
So yeah, kind of a send off here. We're done with the boss rush, but there is one song that I know Ellie always likes to play. At the end of every showcase for this, especially for marathons benefiting something like Trans Lifeline. This is, I believe, the only song in Sound Voltex by Akira Complex, who we tragically lost. I believe. I'm trying to remember what it was. I don't want to think too hard about it right now, but again, just want to, rest in power for sure, and just want to give a shout outs to the organizers of Fastest Spurs for all the work they're putting on, benefiting what is a very important cause, because Cure Complex taken from us much too soon.
So while they only had one song in Sound Voltex, they had quite a few in a lot of rhythm games.
Don't let me saying that it was her only song in Sound Voltex give you the wrong idea. Super active in rhythm game music production, has a ton of music in multiple rhythm games. Very influential and just a wonderful person.
I was always personally a really big fan of both Ether Strike from Archaea and Galactic Warzone from what was the name of that game called?
I'm drawing a blank as well.
Roteno.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, both of them.
Not one I've actually had the pleasure of playing yet personally, but it looks pretty looks pretty good.
Just overall, very, very solid songs that they made.
And yeah, coming up on we'll be coming up on time here at, right when this song ends. And yeah, that can be time right there.
Oh.
Amazing job. Wow.
Oh,
Can we have a round of applause for Ellie?
oh man, I wasn't sure how I was gonna feel doing 820s in a row, but it seemed to work out. So
Your arms are still attached.
for now, yeah.
20s
Chat
are no
is
joke.
popping off right now.
Oh,
Ellie, that was a fantastic run. Thank you so much for that showcase. You rocked it, and chat is still popping off. They absolutely love that.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, absolutely. And hey, again, congratulations. And if you wanted to give any shout outs, if there's anything else that you wanted to say, the floor is all yours.
Okay, well, first of all, shout outs to commentators. Spooty Warrior did an awesome job. Well, I was busy trying to not make my arms fall off. Shout outs to the tech crew too, because this was a bit of a pain to set up, I think, and I'm grateful for them having accepted the run. Shout outs to Trans Lifeline and Kira Calplex, all our LGBTQ+ musicians out there and creators. This last song was for you. That's about it for me. Anything you want to say, Spooty Warrior?
Nothing I haven't said already. Thanks again for having us. You already said it. Thanks to the tech crew for rolling with the punches. This game just really does not play well with Discord, so leads to a lot of having to split the setup between two systems, and I don't know, it was awkward. But and thanks to everyone hanging out in chat who also rolled the technical hiccups. It's always a pleasure to show off Sound Voltex for sure, and can't think of many people better suited for a showcase than Ellie. And of course, as always, Transrite.
I also want to plug real quick Voltexes.com if you want to learn more about this game and anything you might want to know about setting it up for yourself. If you are interested in what you see. So, yeah.
Yeah,
That was it for me. So, I'm gonna take a good rest.
It is very well
deserved.
earned. Absolutely. Thank you so much. That was fantastic. Everyone is still popping off, by the way, so it is very well earned. We're going to go ahead and take a short intermission, and we'll be back shortly with Beatmania 2DX. Whew, so while we all have a bit of a breather, how are you all feeling after that? Because I feel like after watching that, I need a breather myself. Gosh. I would also like to remind everyone that, first of all, you've done such a fantastic job meeting our incentives today. We met everything for today, and it's thanks to you, it is thanks to your generous support, and it's thanks to your help telling other people about this event and getting people into the show to watch. So thank you so much for all of your support and everything you're doing. We also now have tomorrow's incentives starting to be unlocked. So we have a complete the Moon Cave incentive for Super Mario Odyssey. We also have a costume bid war for Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. And we have five names you can bid on for Dead Rising. The names are Nemesis, Mega Man, Ken, Rikuo, and Ashley Graham. And for everyone who is joining, first of all, thank you so much for coming in to watch the show. You're watching Fastest Furious Fall Fest 2024 in support of Trans Lifeline. We're so proud to be raising money for Trans Lifeline for the 5th consecutive year. Founded in 2014, Trans Lifeline is a crisis and peer support hotline run by trans people for trans and questioning callers. Calls to Trans Lifeline are fully anonymous, confidential, and use informed consent when connecting to resources outside of the hotline. They operate in both the US and Canada. Trans Lifeline needs our help to meet the ongoing demand for their services, and we hope you consider joining us in supporting their life-saving work by using the command !donate in chat. For more information, please visit www.translifeline.org. So while everyone is hanging out, who's excited for Beat Mania 2DX Infinitas? I know I am. I know that there's so many awesome songs that we're going to be seeing. Again, another showcase. Yoshi86Up will be performing and playing this for us. And, I just want to say, wouldn't it be awesome? Wouldn't it be delightful? Wouldn't it be absolutely joyful if our players tomorrow woke up and checked their incentives and found out that they were already met? I mean, I'm just saying it'd be a pretty sweet gift to the folks who have been practicing for so long, who are so passionate about both their games and entertaining and this cause. I just think it'd be a really sweet, nice thing that we could do for them to have them wake up and see that their incentive is already met. So, if you got a few bucks to spare, I think it's a great time to do that and get them prepared. Not to mention that right now you have 100% of the power for that naming bid war. So yeah, all donations and all support are so very much appreciated. And I think we're going to take a short break as well, and we'll be checking back in with you in a few moments. Alrighty, we're just getting things set up for our Beatmania 2DX showcase run by Yoshi86Up. How's everyone doing? How are y'all feeling tonight? I know that I am so heckin' hyped from that last run, and I am so excited for the new one coming up. I also have to say that all of your positive energy, all of your chats, everything that you guys have been contributing towards this has gotten me. It has filled my heart with joy, and it is having me smiling nonstop. So thank you all so much for hanging out with us, for chatting, and for just being a part of this great weekend. Let's also give some cheers to the Fastest Furs chat. They put so much work into this show. They've been going for 5 years, and my goodness, it's just so awesome to see how far they've come, and this incredible show. I'm so just grateful to be a part of it and to be here with all of you. So yeah, cheers to everyone. Y'all are so great. I do see a few people saying that they're sleepy. Yep. Same. Not gonna lie, but I mean, honestly, I'm like, my body is sleepy, but just watching this and being a part of this, I am so hyped. The sleep does not even exist. And yes, Patches, let's send it with Beatmania. For anyone who is tuning in more recently, you're watching Fastest Furs Fall Fest 2024 in support of Trans Lifeline. In 2024, November 13th to 19th marked the annual Transgender Awareness Week, and November 20th marked the annual Transgender Day of Remembrance. We're proud to be putting this event in hopes of raising awareness of the issues facing transgender and gender nonconforming people everywhere. We encourage you to support Trans Lifeline and their life-saving work by making a donation using the command !donate in chat. And for more information, visit www.translifeline.org. And we do also have a few fantastic prizes lined up for y'all that are exclusive to Friday, by the way. Thanks to the generosity of our Fastest First community, we're thrilled to offer a huge assortment of prizes, and the unique grand prize, a unique grand prize for each day of the event, as well as a weekend prize. On day 2, which is today, cumulative donations of at least $50 during the stream will automatically qualify you to win our day 2 grand prize, which is a giant Cavendish Balacho Perler, donated by the Scuba Pup. The Perler is 18 inches long by 13.5 inches wide and features one of the community's favorite jokers. Additional prizes are available, which you can check out if you type !prizes in chat. All of those other prizes are available, you will be qualified for all of those prizes if you make a donation of at least $25.